Hello, welcome back, welcome back. This is Electric Vision Entertainment. Let me make sure I can hear. This is okay, we have audio. There's going to be background audio this time on the show, possibly on future shows as well, because it's hot. So that AC got to keep going. Plus, we are going to be doing some soldering this week. Not too much, we're going to do a little bit. So I need some airflow in here. I usually don't open the windows because it's makes it hotter. So instead, I'm just gonna have the AC blowing. We're not gonna do too much soldering. I don't think. Probably got like 10 points of contact, so it shouldn't be too bad. Anyway, welcome back to the show. I know I haven't like streamed for Electric Vision Entertainment in a little while, and the reason being is just because trying to figure out next projects, scheduling. I might end up actually moving the show time to a little earlier in the day to accommodate like East Coast people as well as just like scheduling in general. And then as well as just technical difficulties, they happen. Hopefully, we should be good. And in the interim, plenty of projects have come about. Some I've made already, some I haven't made. I'm not going to get too much in depth about all the ones I haven't. We'll talk about that at the end in terms of upcoming stuff. But in terms of things that we're probably going to talk about today, and things that have happened in the past. So, just a recap, of course, from the other show, probably ago. The last robot we did was the Sunfounder High Car, is what they called it. It was this one. I have like 4 robots over here now. They keep expanding. So, this is the last car that we built. This one. Fully functional. I do want to still. We might work on it some more in the future. I did say we were probably going to do a code review of this. I don't know if we're still going to do a code review of this. Just because. Um. We might. But it's not too complex other than the parts that set up the server. Which I believe is written in like Django. So we might go over that a little bit, but in terms of the Python, it's mostly just like interacting with the servos and things like that. So it's not too bad, but we did get it working. We can run it off of my computer or a computer if you want to set it up. So you can go look at previous videos and you can see this guy running, as well as if you go to my Instagram, which is Electric Empress, which is scrolling across the bottom of the screen down there, then you can see other like media forms, like videos and pictures of the robot and of it running around. I said that I would put more media out there of the robots working. It's just a matter of timing. Not to tighten his head. Anyway, so we finished this one. It was with the Raspberry Pi and Arduino. So it was a fun little project. We got used to working with an Arduino or with the Raspberry Pi, how you set it up on a network, how to interface it with the type of operating system that we had. It was a good little one, mostly done. If anything, the next step was just to be connecting it to a phone. So there is a way. I didn't look too in depth with it at the time. I only briefly saw it was an option, so I didn't really cross my mind. But there is a way to set it up so you can run the robot off of your phone, which I think would be pretty cool. Because then I could just like remote into it. Like if I'm not at home, I could have it like roam around the house when I'm not here. Very Home Alone esque type things. There's like all these secret booby traps. So did that one. Then there's the one back there. I don't really want to pull it down because it's chunky. Still working on trying to fix that one. I believe at this point what I need to do next. So there's a lot of power issues with it. Whenever I change the batteries, put new batteries, if I turn it on, then one of the battery packs on one side always burns out, like every time. Even if it's not programmed to do anything currently, it could just be on. And within a few seconds, it's burning. So I've done a lot of different things to fix that. We haven't figured out the solution. So my next step is to replace that board. I'm thinking there may have been a faulty, like either the batteries were faulty or whatever. I will go back and double check like the voltages and amps on the batteries, but I'm pretty certain I got it right. It's not the first time, the second time for sure. But it's possible that the battery pack messed it up or something messed it up. So I'm gonna have to go find and replace that board. I haven't been able to find it yet. So once I do, then we can have another stream where I'm just like ripping it back open, uh, rewiring everything, and hopefully getting it to work without burning. I don't think I've ever shown it burning on camera. I don't think, because usually when I have that issue, I've tested it out a day or two before and saw the issue. And then when it comes time to the show, I'm like, hey, I tested it. It's not going to work. Um, so this time, if I get the board, I'll just say, you know what? We're just going to do it completely on air, start to finish, see what happens. Other update. There's a lot of updates. Like I said, I haven't been here for like a few weeks. So we're going to do all these updates. The actual project we're doing today is I'm going to make a solar power battery charger. And the reason I did that was because of the fact of that robot back there with all the power issues. I have so many batteries. Maybe not so many. I have like 10 batteries for that robot, even though it needs 4. And the charger that I have for it is only capable of charging 2 batteries at a time, which is standard. Usually you'll have issues if you're charging more than 2, at least for lithium ion batteries, once these ones need. So having all these batteries and only being able to charge 2 at a time, I was like, I either need to buy more chargers, which I don't want to do, or I can build a charger. So this is what we're going to do. This one is battery charger, and it is going to power, be off solar power. Yeah, we're going to do that. Before we get that, the only other thing to update, I was going to have another update after this one as well, was a new package that's coming in the mail that will allow for a lot of growth. I personally have been working on PCBs, which are programmable circuit boards. Working on designing and creating my own. So, like I said, if you went to my Instagram, you can see I put up like one of the ones I was working on. I don't think I'll do it next week, probably the week after next. I don't know. There's a whole list. I gotta write the list down. There's a whole list of things that we're going to work on within the next few weeks. So, like, how to write out schematics and design them. We're going to do like a little quick introductory version of that. We're probably going to do an introductory version of 3D modeling. Yeah, 3D modeling. So you can make like your own little parts. What else did I say? I don't know if it'll probably be next week because I know the past few, not even few, the past like 10 plus shows have been purely robotics based in terms of, yeah, we kind of mess with a little code in terms of programming the Raspberry Pi and Arduino and such, but it's mostly been mechanical in terms of building things or electrical. And that's fine and all, but at the same time, I tell myself, look, well, we are doing this through Make School, and Make School is a coding school. We do want to put a little more coding in. What I'm going to do is probably next week, I will use one of my projects that I'm semi-done with, and I'm going to use that as an example to show like how to set up a machine learning model. So I'll probably this one's a bit more advanced. I'll try to break it down as well as I can, and that's all I can say. I don't think I can look back and see if I have any lower, like beginner level machine learning, but honestly, a lot of quote unquote beginner level machine learning is just analytics, statistics. Yeah, it's just getting the data and making it presentable. But once you get into machine learning, that's when it's like, okay, you're actually doing more than just that. You actually have to make it do stuff for you. So it's a bit more complex, but I do still want to do it, even though it will be more advanced, because I think it'll still be a good way to show people, like, the other side of coding. I think most of the coding I've done on here has been pretty intro level, and that's good. But I think it'd be interesting just to show like how much work can go into creating like a machine learning model, even if it's kind of hard to understand. Like I said, I'm gonna try to break it down as much as possible. You can try to follow along with me if you want. I'll link in the chat my GitHub. I believe it's on my GitHub. So I can link my GitHub. So if you want to like fork it or save it, go back to it later, break it down by yourself. I have comments in it, so it kind of explains what I'm doing. But that's probably what I'm gonna do. Anyway, last thing before we actually get into the project. So I built this yesterday. I essentially got it. It's this little Mars rover made from not cardboard. It's just wood. He's adorable. This it's like a 3D puzzle in the sense that it's just like wooden puzzle pieces you put together. And in terms of it, it is operational. Like it does move. And it's just a few gears in here. Most of the parts are wood. Of course, you see down here we got some metal. On the inside, I think there's literally 3 gears, a servo, a motor connected to this solar cell, and that's it. And when you put it in the sun, I don't think I let the sun in here. I let the sun in here if you'll be able to fully see it move, but can't. And it's not really grabbing. Okay, well, it's there. You can't really see it move. I don't know if you can hear it, but you can vaguely see the wheels turning. So it is solar powered. That's all it needs is just enough sunlight, and it just rolls away. So built this other day. I said I intentionally got it for the purpose of building it on the air. But that didn't happen because one, I got impatient and I just wanted to build it, and two, it's not really something to really watch to learn from. This is like just doing a puzzle. Like you would just be sitting there. I think this took me maybe 3 hours, 2 hours, I don't know, a couple hours at least to finish building this. Little PC camera. And it was literally just me sitting here like watching YouTube videos in the background while I built this. So it wasn't like anything entertaining or whatever. It was just a cool little fun project. So I highly recommend it. It was like $25 ish, including tax on Amazon. I forgot who made it. Made this. What company? ROKR. ROKR is the name of the company. Vagabond Rover. So they have this one. They have a bunch of other ones. I would say that I would do the other ones on air, but that's not happening. The other ones I want to do are far more complex, and I guarantee will take way more time. So instead, what I'm gonna do is I'm not sure where I'll post it. I do have a Patreon. I don't advertise it as much. If you want to know about that, reach out to my Instagram or Facebook page to find out more. But instead, I recorded the whole thing, more or less, start to finish, and I'm just gonna compile it in a sense into a video, and I'll put out the whole video of me making it. Won't be high quality, won't be super crazy entertaining or anything like that, but just in case you want to see the process. So, I know I've been rambling for like 20 minutes. Mostly because this project is not a large project, and it probably won't take that much time for me to make it. So I'm trying to fill the time with talking. Yeah, because I don't think this will take but like 15 minutes, if even 15. Only 15 because I haven't made it before. But looking at the schematic for it, see if I can pull this, show you it. It's very ugly sketched. Please don't judge me. Well, I mean, you can judge me if you want to, there, but this is my sketch of the circuit diagram. Very hard to see, I'm aware. But this is basically how we build it. I haven't looked at this schematic in a week, so hopefully I remember the steps. Even I wrote it out in English. So we're gonna do this. I don't think it'll take too long. Like I said, once it's done, I'm not sure how I'll test it other than plugging it up because it's a battery charger. not like the batteries have a level indicator. It's not like the charger's gonna have a battery level indicator, and I don't have a actual battery indicator. Even though I said I would. So we're just gonna make it. Might make 2 of them. Just pass the time. I don't know. Otherwise, something for that. Yeah, we might make 2 of them just cause. Yeah, so what I'm gonna do is get into it. And like I said, I always say every show will finish early. That never happens. But we'll see if we finish early this week because I don't have much work. What I wanted to show off isn't here. It never gets here on time. I can only blame myself because I always order stuff on like Thursdays. Hello, welcome. I always order parts on Thursdays, which is always a bad idea, or Fridays. It's always a bad idea because they never get here. They say they'll get here Saturday, but then by the time the show comes around, they're not here. So the thing I really wanted to showcase today, we're not going to be able to. So right now I'm just waiting for my soldering iron to heat up a little bit before I get started, and then we'll get into it. So you said we're gonna build this solar charger. As you see from this robot here, I've been playing a little bit more with solar cells this week. I guess I could do a quick parts review before we get into it while we wait. Yeah. Cool. Alright, so I'm gonna switch to my other camera from at my desk and show what parts we're gonna use. I'm also gonna go grab some water real quick because I realize the sponge for my soldering iron is dry and it technically is okay if it's dry, but highly don't recommend it. Just a tip: if you solder, always have a sponge or some sort of cleaning device that is preferably either have like a metal what they're called, you know, like the ones you rub your dishes with, the little metal thing. Have one of those or have a wet sponge. And I don't have a wet sponge. So I am going to switch this desk camera. I'm gonna grab a little water and then I'm gonna come back and show the parts while we wait for the soldering iron to heat up. Alright. That probably won't see me. I decided it's easier for me to like not show my face while I'm working on this just because I only have 2 cameras. And I don't really feel like buying a 3rd camera. So you can see my face at the same time. So first thing I'm gonna do is just go ahead and wet the sponge up. I'm just gonna use my little spritzer haul. Don't need that much water. Just enough to where like it can slightly cool down the soldering iron. There's still wood chips all over my desk from the last product I worked on, that solar powered car. It took forever. Anyway. I don't think I need this little man. So the main parts we're gonna be using. We're gonna need a solar cell. I really wanted a solar cell like the one on this guy. This small little solar cell here. Highly recommended. However, the way Amazon was set up, they sent me this one. So it's much larger than I needed it to be. But it is what it is. They said this one was supposed to air a week ago or 2 weeks ago. Had I known it was going to take this long for me to air this episode, I would have just ordered it from like Jameco. It would have took longer, but it probably would have been exactly what I needed. Anyway, so we're gonna use this. Then we need a diode. So these are our diodes. They're just gonna be there for like power management. So we only need one, but of course they come in a set. Then we have these modules. not just the 3. We only need the 1, so they come in packs of 3, so you just snap off. We just need the 1. And what this does, let me turn the down. What this does is our charging base. So say we wanted to make this so we could charge like our phone, right? Then that's what this is for. This is that adapter. Oh, sorry. This is that adapter. So we need this. Then we need, I don't have the official names. I have to pull up the official names to get to all. This module as well. You see the USB. Similar purpose for like external charging. And then I have a whole list here. I'm trying to make sure everything. Yeah, this is our yeah, okay. Battery charging module, then we got that. Then we have our switch. The switch is optional. The basic on-off switch. Completely optional, don't have to use it. But it's just like control like having it charge on and off. Or you could just go without the switch. It is whenever some battery is hooked up to there, it's just automatically running. Or when it's in the sun, it's automatically running. And let's see, lastly, we need these bad boys. This is our, of course, battery holder for. I'm making this specifically because I was going to solder this to the back of here, like this, on the back. It's so large, so I'm like, we'll see. Maybe. This battery pack is specifically for these batteries, these 18650 batteries, because that is the main ones that I've been using for that big robot up there, as well as the other one we built last week. Seems to kind of be one of the default, other than AA batteries, but you need a bunch of AA batteries to get the same power output. So this is basically it. And excuse me. Of course, some solder. I'm also gonna use some jumpers because I realize I don't have much loose wire just hanging around here. I'm just gonna use some of these wires. Not gonna be the cleanest, but we're gonna get it to work, and then we'll do whatever from there. See you. First up, we're gonna do. I'm not gonna put any power anywhere, and that's why I have like my windows closed so this doesn't accidentally charge. I probably won't plug up the power side anyway while I'm working on this. So we got our soldering iron here, and I'm gonna use the sponge for always. I just drag across one time in the beginning just to clean it. Got our solder over here. Cool. Alright, so first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead and add some jumpers, some wires to this guy. And just put colors. Oh, there's so much different lengths. Different. I try to stick with red and black. There's no black cables in here for ground. The red is extra long. We'll just do this. It's not like it's going far, so we'll just use. Yeah, we'll just use the orange and the gray anyway. So I'm gonna get each side and solder it to an end. Just get all this out the way. I'm gonna do is just coat the tip of my soldering iron, a little solder on the edge. It turns out it. When you do this, it's called tinning. Partially to test if it's hot enough, partially to protect it. Because that's like that extra layer. What I'm gonna do is I need more desk space. It is actually concerning because I just got something very large in the mail or about to, and now I don't know where I'm gonna put it. I will also figure that out later. Anyway, I'm gonna use my helping hands. Hold this for me. Pretty sure I can do it without him, but better safe than sorry. Bend that here. It has a touching it. Boom. Go ahead and solder that on. Just wait. So beautifully tinted. I need to figure out background music. Okay. Release. Solid connection. And other side for the positive side. Around, why don't you battery? Okay. Cool. Now we have our connection on this, on both sides. Next, we are going to go ahead and connect my diode. Just need one. The direction does matter. So they have this little stripe. Yeah, it's gonna be hard to see. If I can pull up my zoom. It's not that much better. But you can vaguely see that on this side. Oh, I lost it. Vaguely on this side, there is a little strip that indicates its positive side. So we're gonna connect that up. I'll have to edit that in the future so it zooms a little bit better. Okay, so we're gonna connect it to our positive side. I'm gonna trim this a little. All this extra cut off like this much. And then that this is gonna go from our positive side. So what I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna wrap the wire around it just a bit. This is one of the ways to usually, I think I showed this in the other, I can't really zoom in to show it, but when you're joining two different wires, usually the best way to do is wrap them around each other a little bit so that they're already connected, and then that way it's a little easier for you when you have to solder them together. Less pressure on having the whole thing. Simple. Right, looks like we got a good connection there. Ha! Oh, I touched it. Anyway, so got that. And next we're gonna connect everything to our battery charging module. And verify which one it is. I believe it's the blue one, but I just want to be sure. Yeah, the blue one. Ta-da. Cool. Alright, so I'm gonna connect everything to this guy here. Little blue piece. Yes, I know it's a little tiny. I can't really make much bigger, but I currently have it set to at the moment. Maybe I can. I can fix it real quick. Over here. A little bigger. Is so on this chip we have a positive and a negative input, positive and negative input, and then on this side are outputs. We have two different outputs and two different inputs. We have a B plus, a B minus. Those are our battery, like battery pack, positive and negative, and then we have the output on either side for our voltage regulator. It's gonna be this in case we wanted to like hook it up to a USB. So, what to do? So of course, being positive and negative input, we're gonna do the same. Solar power is our input. We're just gonna plug those directly where they need to go. Luckily, these are through hole. I can just put the wire through the hole, flip it over. Solder it on. Okay. Other side. Oh no. It'll work. It'll be tight, but it'll work. A little tight, of course, got a little chip right there. And I'll just put my wire clippers. Now that those are done, I'm just gonna clip the ends just to make it slightly tidier. I have to adjust it back because I'll just have to tilt the camera. Ooh. Now we got this seamlessly on there. Not too much excess wire coming out. Next, we need to start adding our outputs. So, for that, I'm going to do the outside stuff first. I'm actually going to build it before I do it. So what the outside consists of is the switch and these guys. And that's about it. One other jumper. Let's use an orange since we're a positive side. So we're not going to do anything with the negative because the negative is going to go straight to the module. So we're just going to leave it alone. But we are going to connect this to our switch and this to the other side of our switch. So I'm going to strip this just a little. I don't have actual wire strippers at the moment, so I'm just going to carefully do it with my wire cutter. Twist it a little. This is made out of a bunch of smaller wires. We're going to get this on off. Thread it through there. Pull it back just a little bit. Cool. Did not think it would. And I think this should be wide enough. This side. And my tool. Second one might be a little tougher to get, but we're gonna do our best. It's gonna need either more solder or just a little bit of both. I'm gonna do that one first because it's gonna be fast. I can already tell. I'll do the other side too. Okay, that is pretty solid. The same over here. It's toasty. Anyway, so I gotta keep the AC on, guys. Oh, look at me taking more time doing this. I said 15. Anyway, not the cleanest. Well, one side is clean-ish. The other side is not, but it's what it is. And trim the excess. Let me just briefly hit this. And I'm gonna put just a drop more of this first one. Okay. Sometimes soldering feels like painting with metal. Which I guess it kinda is. Alright, so we got this. We got our whole positive set up. So now we're gonna bring this guy back in the fold. And we're gonna put the negative to the negative, positive to the positive. Like that. Flip it over. I can solder it from the bottom so it's less metal on top. And top. Okay, what we're gonna do, as the ground side is shorter, pull off some excess of this one too. Can always trim it later. Alright, so now I got a bunch of like extra on the end. Twist. And loop it back through the negative side. Flip it, solder at the bottom. Do the same. And do the same for the top real quick. Get the positive side, the orange line. We're gonna put it through our output positive. Solder that on. That's that. We're almost done. Actually, a little trim there. Yep. Looks pretty solidly soldered. So the last piece that we need is our Let's just connect this wrong. Did. Oh, we'll have to undo some stuff real quick. So put this in the wrong places. Alright, we're gonna do a quick undo. Okay, so we're doing this. This is where I just put those. So this battery pack needs to go inside, not outside. But I can fix this real quick. Okay. So what needs to happen, right? This wire and then all of this to the red. So about like to this halfway point. Right about there. Needs to actually connect to this piece. And then the battery pack needs to go on the inside. So what we're gonna do to fix this real quick, we're just gonna cut it right about here. A little closer. Wiring space. I'm just gonna cut it right there. So instead, I'm gonna do these are gonna go on the inside, the B positive, B negative. I was like, I'm sure. And then these are gonna connect to this piece, and then we'll be done. I'm gonna do the same thing. This experience has reminded me greatly that I need to invest in fire. Yeah. Okay. The other part real quick. Crazy, I have the schematic sitting right in front of me. And I said it out loud a minute ago, and then I still did it wrong. Luckily, it is not a big issue. Fix this. Alright. Bring these back. So we got our negative and our positive side. Red and orange. And we're going to connect it to the negative and the positive of this as well. So, hold this guy. Put it in upside down. So solder it from upside down. Anyway. Positive is over here. Negative is over here. Do that. That. To double check that it's effective. You usually tell if it is good or not by looking from the top and seeing if it flowed through. You don't want it to flow through too much, but just enough. Just yeah. Okay. And then lastly, the correct last piece the inside is this one. Same thing one more time. It's really not that hard to strip them with the wire cutters. You just gotta be careful to not like cut. That's always my thing while I'm like twisting and twisting. So I'm trying to be very light pressure and not like cut through it. But I'm like, at like a bit more pressure, it'll be fine. Anyway, let me do this on the side. So slide this back, flip it backwards out of the way. We got the B positive, which is our battery positive, and B negative for our battery negative. And let's solder these last two pieces on G. Accident. Alright, next. Face full of solder. Which is why you're supposed to have a fan right at the desk when you're doing this. Desk fan. Can I build a desk fan? Yes. I could just holder that I have with a bat. Actually, in hindsight, I could have just did that. I have this thing. Anyway, might as well run it for the last 2 seconds of being done here. Air it out a little. But I'm not to run it too long because I know it's like loud as heck. Loud as but. This is it. I know it's a hot mess. I'm ready. I don't. What time are we at? Okay. Trying to figure out how I can like connect. Ah! It's up. That's awkward. I'll fix that in a moment. Just got that snapped off. I want to see if I could fit this here or not. Okay, I'm gonna do that real quick. So, for one, use a hot glue gun. Gorilla glue it. I think it'll hold. Worst case, it won't, and I'll pull out the glue gun. So I'm just gonna add a bit of Gorilla Glue here. Here. I don't want to do it directly on the conduit. If it'll stay because of the wiring underneath. Anyway, while I hold this here for a couple seconds. What else? So I have to resolder one of these pieces because it snaps. Not too big a deal, but yeah. Like I said, it's for the switch. Technically, I don't need that switch, so I could just like cut it off and connect the two wires by themselves. I don't even know if I can show this working. I'm gonna try when I hook it back up and just put it in sunlight, see if like any lights come on or anything like that, but not positive. Alright, and then this real quick. I'm glad I did not turn my iron off. Talking about adding too much pressure. I see I'm gonna have to invest stronger actual wire, not just jumpers. No, it's in my shopping cart, and now it will be on the way to my house. Because obviously doesn't wanna work otherwise. Mm. Oh, that's harder. I actually don't think I'm gonna do the switch. It keeps snapping. It keeps snapping. I want to put a switch on. I have about 15 others. That I'm just going to not do the switch. Two wires together real quick. This together. I just don't get to get my face. Not gonna lie. And it helps it cool a little faster. Again, not the cleanest. If I can clean it up real fast, just a little bit. Yeah, that's about it. I always say this one. What did I say at the beginning of this? Like, this is gonna end early. This isn't gonna take that long. And then here we are overtime. Crazy. So, turn that off real quick. This is more or less. Again, it's this jumper. I'm not gonna fix this for a third time. So I can see it's this jumper in particular that's messed up. What I'll do is, by the time the next show comes around, I might build a second one. But by the time the next show comes around, I will order regular wiring as well as some other stuff. So either I'll rebuild it on the show again next week, with the other wire, just for like an example. Like I said this time, so like I said this time, obviously everything takes longer to do the first time than the second time. Um, I feel like next time doing this, I could just like zoom my way through it. What I'm gonna do is I'll order some higher gauge wire so it has less chance of snapping like that. There's usually jumpers are just used for prototyping and breadboards anyway, so they're not as heat or malleable. So I'll probably get some other gauge wire for that, and I'll either build one real quick, like at the beginning of the show next week, before we really get into anything else, or I'll build one off air and just showcase it. As well as, either way, I'll probably put it online on my Instagram once I get it working. Let's see what else. So there's that. It's not the cleanest, but it should be operational once I get it all situated. To charge up some batteries, I got like four other unused battery packs at the moment, so I can make a couple and just sit them in the sun and just let them ambiently charge up. In the meantime, hopefully they should have a cap. I believe one of these models has it built in for like gets to a certain capacitance of the battery. It'll stop charging it. Anyway, let's see. Anything else before I go? I said in terms of the show, I might move the time. Not 100% positive, but I'm pretty certain next Saturday I won't be available at this time, and I don't want to miss another week. So there's a very high chance that I will push it earlier, or potentially do it on Friday. But I will advertise that accordingly. Most likely it'll be Friday if I have to reschedule. I think it'll be convenient. As well, like I said, follow the Instagram because that's where usually I keep updates about like the little projects like this, as well as other cool stuff that's going on. I said I'm 99% sure next week is going to be a coding week. So we'll do machine learning. We'll do, and the one we're going to do in particular is a neural network called LSTM, which is a time series forecast. So basically, like, give it a bunch of data and it can predict the future. We're going to do that. The one I built isn't super accurate, but I'm pretty sure I know why it's not. And most of it is a data thing, like the type of data I gave it and how much, as well as probably. Actually, no, it's mostly data. Uh, so it's a lot of missing values. Well, it gave me a less accurate thing than if I just gave it purely clean data. But yeah, so we're gonna do that next week, and that is about it, I think. So thanks for joining me today. I know it's just like a little slow pace. We just did a little soldering, nothing too crazy this week. No, like getting all the way into databases, and rewriting robots, and anything like that. Just some simple soldering electronics, just to get back in the swing on the show. Well, with that being said, thank you again for joining me this week. I'll see you next week. Have a good rest of your Saturday and stay fresh.